Hi guys, Ronnie here and welcome to the workshop. Today I want to talk about the topic of the S-Works SL7 tarmac recall, and it's not a topic that I would normally choose because I'm not looking for fake fame or to influence people in a negative way, but I got many questions regarding it, and I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, or most of the information that is out there is false. So I just want to give you a more rational view on the problem and the nature of it. So hopefully there'll be some people interested in this more than they're interested in a sensation or some hype that people like to produce around themselves and their opinions. So let's just start with one thing. Now, what I've read commonly on the internet is that people are bashing Specialized because they make very expensive bikes and they're all bad. Well, Specialized is a popular brand to hate, but they've been making hundreds of different models for over 30 years, and really this now has happened in one instance with one model in a very limited number of bikes that are actually affected. So I think that's a bit of an unfair comparison here. And yes, these are very, very expensive bikes. In fact, some of the most expensive on the market. So people rightfully agree that there shouldn't be any flaws. And I agree with that completely. But on the other hand, you need to realize that no matter how expensive something that you buy is, eventually it has been designed by humans, by people, and people are prone to error. No matter how well paid or educated they are, or no matter if they produce or design bicycles or mobile phones or airplane parts or anything, mistakes can happen. And they do happen actually. I've worked in different industries, and recalls like this and even more serious ones just happen. You know, they happen with car parts, they happen with motorcycle parts. I won't say it's good, but it's relatively common, and the reason they do happen is that manufacturers can't think forward for all the occasions, or can't possibly test all the realities of real-world use. So sometimes some parts of a product need to be replaced to ensure their safety further down the line. Some people also call this the worst recall in the history. Well, as far as I know, the only affected bike was this grey tarmac with a snapped off stereo tube, and the pictures of that running around the internet. I haven't actually seen any real world examples. I haven't or don't know about any people that would actually be killed or seriously injured or even mildly injured by an incident like this. I've worked on many of these bikes myself and ridden two of them myself for a number of kilometers, and nothing happened. So yeah, it's just really unfair to call it that way. Now you might say that I'm talking about all this because of my affiliations with Specialized, and while it is true that some equipment that I use is sponsored by different brands, my wheels for example, but Specialized isn't supporting me in any way at all. Every single Specialized product that I've ever bought was from my own money, and I can, if you don't believe me, I can prove that with invoices, etc. So really there's no point. In fact, even after winning the title on their bike, they haven't even congratulated me from the local marketing department for Slovakia. So you can take of that what you will. So this is the theoretical part that I just wanted to clear up, and I wanted to give you some other thoughts about this whole situation and how people treat it. I think it's really just dumb, and it's very sad that nowadays, in the age of the internet, bad news happen, or not happen, travel 6 times faster than good news, and the whole world, whole internet is just, you know, a big source of misinformation and hoaxes like this. Then the second thing, the actual official statement of Specialized, the same that I got regarding my bikes and my customers' bikes. So, the bike you probably saw on the pictures with a broken head tube, or a steer tube, sorry. Nobody knows what actually happened to it. It was probably impacted very hard, but there are no other cases, or not many, at least not many that we know of, that have actually had these failures during normal riding. As I said, I have no real-world examples on my own of any damage whatsoever. Specialized say that you can help the situation by installing the longer expander plug that they can provide if you want, and you can change it if you want, but you don't have to in order to preserve the warranty or the safety of your bike. So I'm not going to, because I have enough things to do without disassembling my bike again. Anyway, that's one thing that I wanted to clear up. So the bikes that are out there on the road are in no way dangerous. I have around 4,000 kilometers on this red bike, and incidentally, when I sold my previous bike with the black paint job, I still got a fork from that because it was cut, so there's zero stack on there, and this didn't suit the new owner, so he got a brand new fork. And I never really got a good look at this fork until now, because I just had it in the wardrobe. Yes, in the wardrobe. And I tried to examine it, try to focus on that, but I don't think I'll be able to show it, because really there's nothing to show. This fork has around 5,000 kilometers on it, with the headset correctly assembled and tightened, the brake hose correctly attached. So yeah, really there's nothing to it. Of course, you can see the mark where the ring was sitting against the steer tube, but there's no wear whatsoever, you know. There's nothing you can feel with your finger. It's just completely visual and superficial. But that happens with basically every other fork that you get, every other carbon fork, because eventually metal is able to mark this. But you know, there's no way on earth that this could be damaged, even by riding at an indefinite amount of time. So yeah, there you have it, living proof of a perfectly fine SL7 fork. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, and I've heard, and it's complete nonsense, is that the issue is also the front brake hose, that it can get impinged by the headset. And that the solution is that you now have to tape it to the fork steerer. Well, the thing is, the same kind of routing and the headset has been used since 2019 by the Venge. The exact same thing. And from the very first day it existed, in the assembly manual it was stated that you have to tape the front brake hose to the steer tube. And in that way it can't be damaged whatsoever. So really, that's just false information that people are spreading. So yeah, basically that's about it regarding the recall. And there's one more thing that I want to show you. So let me just get to the bike itself. Now, an unnamed gentleman was trying to prove how shit these bikes are by squeezing the down tube and saying how soft it is and he could break it by his hands. I didn't actually see that, I just heard people talking about it. So let me put it this way, this is a high-end carbon fiber frame. There's only material where there needs to be in order to support the riding stresses and loads placed on it during riding. So material placed elsewhere is just dead weight, and it detriments from the performance, obviously. The very nature of composites and why they're used in applications where lightweight and complex shapes are important is the fact that composite materials are anisotropic. That means they have different properties in different directions, unlike metal tubes, for example. So this fine gentleman has been squeezing a frame in this area, and obviously the frame he has is fake, because there is no way you can press the proper frame that way. At least I can't. Maybe he's super strong and has a superhuman grip, but I just can't. Of course, if you tap the tube, you can hear that it's very brittle and it's very light. And probably if I took out the tool and hit it with it, then it would probably break, because it's not designed for that kind of load. Because strength in this direction, as you can see by the design of a bicycle frame, has nothing to do with stiffness, ride quality, etc. So that's not really the point. And yes, probably if you crash this bike in a way where, I don't know, a rider falls onto the down tube or kicks it with his boot while falling or something like that, then it would probably break. And that's completely normal, and that's the price you pay for high performance that this bike has otherwise. That's why you see so many broken bikes in a crash, in a pro race, in the bunch. So yeah, if you believe any of the bullshit he says, then you really know nothing about bikes or composites, and you shouldn't be misled like that. Okay, so that's pretty much all about it. I really don't want to spend any more time. Hopefully this answers all the questions and gives you a more realistic look at the issue. If you want to see the rest of my bikes and how do they perform and the things that I work on, then don't forget to tune into the channel later on and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.